Money FM 89.3, the best of the afternoon update.
Money FM 89.3. Hello, I'm Lin Lee, your host on the Afternoon Update. Now, the global food system is at a crossroads. Factors such as population growth, climate change, and geopolitical developments are threatening food production worldwide. The issues at stake extend beyond hunger. We're talking about malnutrition, biodiversity loss, water resources, and climate stability. In Singapore, much of our food is imported, and that's why there is an ambitious 30 by 30 goal put in place to produce 30% of Singapore's nutritional needs locally by 2030 for greater food resilience, and to achieve this with less than 1% of land set aside for farming. So in order to address these challenges, future-proofing agri-food systems through technology and innovation, as well as collaboration, is key. So how is the agri-food industry transforming and adopting technology to overcome the challenges and produce more in a sustainable manner? Are we on track in meeting our food security objectives? Guo Xiuling, CEO of Nurasa, a Temasek-owned company dedicated to driving food tech innovation in Singapore and across Asia, joins me now on Industry Insight. Xiuling, welcome.
Hi, Lynette.
Great to have you on the show. Now, Xiuling, we live in a world facing concerns like climate change, geopolitical tensions, economic uncertainties. Ensuring food security has emerged as a critical challenge, not just for Singapore, but also for nations worldwide. As I mentioned earlier, Singapore has set an ambitious target to produce 30% of its food locally by 2030, known as the 30 by 30 vision. To that end, how pivotal do you think the role of technology is in achieving our 30 by 30 goal?
Technology is essential for the industry transformation. And this industry, when we think about food and agriculture, it needs to think at the global lens and not just from one single country. Globally, in terms of food and agriculture, create significant greenhouse gas emissions. This is one of the stories probably many people have heard in the last few years. However, the other very important element that this region and Singapore also must pay attention to is the human health. And also, in a simple way, say, when our region is growing the fastest, and Singapore as the gateway to the Asia, we see all the challenges and problems from the rising middle class, the healthy aging population, and also for the future of the young generation that really looking into where our food from. So technology in this sense will apply across all these elements of consumers' concerns, and both from Singapore's country perspective, but also through the lens that Singapore as the gateway to the region. So we look at these three major challenges and then leverage the Singapore ecosystem's advantage, which we have one of the best home for global business, and also one of the very attractive place for talent, and also one of the capital hub for innovation, both from equity investment and also from traditional financial means. So when we look at all these benefits that Singapore has as a gateway to the Asia, then we can look at technology from addressing the processing technologies, such as precision fermentation, a very sustainable way with much lower environmental impact compared to the traditional agri-food development. And the other part of technology we also need to look at from big data, AI, and nowadays, we must think about artificial intelligence and also the leverage data for better influence in terms of how we make choices for consumer, but also help the researchers and scientists to find a solution much quicker and faster. And the other element of technology actually could be not a hard science that we typically will talk about, but in terms of consumer behavior. Our future generation in this part of the world are much more educated and well aware of the challenges of the environment and also our personal needs. So the consumer behavior change is also a very important element of technology application.
Indeed, I do think that leveraging technology to revolutionize the agriculture and food industry is very important. But in what ways is Nurasa doing so? Perhaps we can start with food production.
Yeah, Nurasa actually has been launched in November 2021 by CEO of Temasek in the Singapore Agri-Food Week. So we are about 3 years old company only. However, even in that kind of short 3 years period of time, we have established a modern manufacturing technology here in Singapore. One is our joint venture, Nurasa, between Nurasa and our German partner, Creamer, for the plant protein contract manufacturing here in Singapore. That is one of the best technology in the world, produce the both from a texture and flavor and taste perspective that please or surprise the consumer in terms of what plant protein product can be developed. And the other part is more for advanced technology development. It is a precision fermentation CDMO facility, is also a joint venture between Nurasa and ADM, a world-leading company in food and agriculture, to provide the service for startups, researchers, and large corporations to use this platform to scale up their technology from lab scale and to the next phase. So accelerate their speed to market commercialization. So both these two are good example that even though we are new to the world as a company, but we have brought in a very advanced global leading technology here in Singapore. And with all these kind of technologies, we will indeed to help our Singapore ecosystem to advance in terms of food innovation, but also contribute to the 30 by 30 food security ambition.
Wow, clearly you are doing a lot. Your efforts in this space and Nurasa are playing a very unique role. You're also somewhat of an incubator of innovation in the ecosystem, helping businesses develop and scale food innovations. Or as the Nurasa website has it, you're investing in the future of sustainable food through innovative R&D, as well as the adoption of cutting-edge technologies. So perhaps you could share with us some of the challenges in commercializing some of these innovations.
When I talk to the industry experts around the world, Nurasa, we interact with many companies for lots of R&D research innovations and also lots of research institutions and universities. And one of the surprising finding, or not surprising at all, actually, there are lots of patents or lots of technology are available to be commercialized. And they are currently some of the laboratories or sitting in a piece of paper of IP or still in a relatively smaller scale in the lab. What's missing actually is the important part is the market readiness. So from a regulatory, from consumer acceptance, and also from larger scale of production, make those innovation solutions affordable for the broader consumers. That challenge, Nurasa and being part of the Singapore ecosystem, we aim to address by leveraging the strengths of the very efficient Singapore innovation ecosystem. Nurasa has invested in capability. We have a innovation center, a pilot scale called the Food Tech Innovation Center, and have officially opened last year. And
this is the one at the Biopolis, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
And DPM and NCK and help to join us with that exciting moment to open the center to make our overall Singapore ecosystem more comprehensive, to complete the research to the market at the smaller scale production. So that part we have helped to address the gap. But the most difficult one still the consumer adoption and also the commercialization at the larger scale and become more affordable, accessible to everyone. And this part, Nurasa has invested the human capability. What does that mean, human capability? Actually, we have a team full of industry experience, come from various industry, come from food services, from big MNC in terms of the food nutrition, and also come from the background in terms of strategy development. So with this kind of comprehensive team capability, and also I need to mention this, the very important partnership with technology provider who have created an AI platform to help companies that can help understand the consumer needs in a very quick and fast and also very affordable cost to help them to pivot their ideas in their product development. And the other part is the human capital, that team that we invested, building to make sure that we can bring more consumer awareness into our ecosystem. So help the innovators and companies that be more selective and also be more decisive when we need to launch the product that meet the consumer needs. We also bring evidence-based facts to the retailers and to the institution companies, such as serving the schools or the universities or the hospitals and all these kind of consumer-facing companies. They will be able to make more science-backed decisions when they introduce these kind of food solutions to the end consumers. At the end, we must satisfy consumers' desire for food, right? We all know we are all consumer. We must eat the food that we like, yummy and tasty, and also healthy and safe. So to cross all these boxes with the new technology innovations, this kind of a collaborative ecosystem approach, and Nurasa is actually very much focused on to be facilitated to achieve that kind of objective, faster, quicker, and more affordable.
Really happy to be hearing all these positive developments in this space. Xiuling, as a woman leading in a traditional male-dominated space, since, we're celebrating International Women's Day this week, perhaps you can tell us some of the biggest challenges you've faced, and how do you see the landscape changing for women leaders in food tech?
Linny, you and I being in the same camp of natural gender selection, inherited our parents' decision. I probably take a bit more a privileged opportunity to be in this era, right? And I always sometimes compare with my mother's life, my grandmother's life, and to my life. I feel very privileged to be in a modern society and allow us without too much gender bias when I grew up, and especially receive the equal education opportunities. So, of course, the unconscious bias exists everywhere. So the natural gender strengths as a woman is we are taking care of the family, we're taking care of the nurturing the next generations, and also nurturing the whole society. So it's how we turn our natural strengths into an opportunity that we create our different way of leading. The job that I'm doing actually is about, sustainable nutrition, right? And then we actually focus on nourishing the world through technology and through the collaborative approach. That actually is female leaders' natural preference and also natural strengths against the other side of the gender. So my personal reflection along the way to be able to do what I can do today is be aware that there are gender differences and do not allow those bias to stop us to become who we want to be. And then leverage our personal passions and then personal capacity, and then also seeking for the support. Actually, it is not a fight between two genders. Leverage other part of gender's strengths, help us to be a better individual. Because better individual doesn't mean that to become a CEO is the ultimate job, right? So there are so many different ways to define your own success in your own capacity and your own interest. I think to have that clarity and determination, that apply to all gender actually. And then also learn from other genders in terms of how they address things more proactively, and then complement with our own natural preference. And then we create impact together. I will encourage those who have same desire, both from both gender side, just make sure that committed to your own belief in yourself, and then take every setback as a learning opportunity to thrive.
Xiuling, I'm humbled and inspired. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and thoughts on the future of sustainable nutrition and the evolving food tech landscape in Singapore and Asia. Guo Xiuling, CEO of Nurasa, a Temasek-owned company set up to transform food systems in Singapore and across Asia to be more sustainable, accessible, and innovative. Thank you.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.